Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to introduce our topic, which is Strategic Management for the MBA III semester, course code BMB 301. On this first slide, you'll see some interesting names, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, that are just a preview of what we'll explore. Over the course of this presentation, we'll cover key concepts in strategic management, including its principles, tools, and real-world applications. So, let's get started and dive into the fascinating world of strategic management. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Now, let's take a closer look at what strategic management actually is. Essentially, it's the process through which organizations set their objectives and work towards achieving them. This process involves three main components: formulation, implementation, and evaluation of strategies. When these elements come together effectively, they help ensure long-term success for the organization. Different authors have offered their insights into what strategic management entails. For example, Whelan and Hunger describe it as a set of managerial decisions and actions that determine how well a company performs over the long run. They emphasize the importance of decision-making in shaping the company's future. On the other hand, Fred R. David sees strategic management as both an art and a science. It involves not only formulating strategies, but also implementing and evaluating cross-functional decisions. These decisions must align with the organization's objectives to achieve sustained success. So, in summary, strategic management is about making thoughtful decisions, putting those decisions into action, and continuously assessing their effectiveness. It's a vital process that connects all parts of the organization and guides it toward its long-term goals. When we talk about the nature of strategic management, there are several key points to keep in mind. First, it is goal-oriented, meaning it always focuses on long-term objectives and the overall vision of the organization. It's not just about short-term gains, it's about shaping the future. Second, it is future-oriented. This involves anticipating opportunities and threats in the environment, so we can prepare and adapt proactively rather than just reacting. Third, strategic management is dynamic and continuous. It requires constant monitoring of the internal and external environment and making adjustments as needed to stay on course. Fourth, it is multidisciplinary. It draws on insights from management, economics, finance, marketing, HR, and operations. This diverse approach ensures a comprehensive view of the organization's strategic position. Fifth, the decision-making process is central. It helps managers make strategic choices among various alternatives, ensuring decisions align with the long-term goals. Sixth, it is inherently competitive in nature. The ultimate aim is to build and sustain a competitive advantage that sets the organization apart from others. And finally, strategic management is primarily a top management function. It is mainly handled by senior executives and the board, who set the direction and oversee the strategic initiatives. All these elements together highlight that strategic management is a complex, integrative process designed to steer an organization towards sustained success in a competitive environment. Now, let's look at how organizations adapt their strategies in response to the rapid changes we see around us. This includes technological advancements, shifts in social dynamics, and ecological challenges. It's crucial that companies stay flexible and responsive to these external forces. At the same time, maintaining transparency and accountability is key. Responsible decision-making builds trust with stakeholders and ensures that strategies are ethically sound. Regularly reviewing performance is essential too, as it allows us to identify areas where we're excelling and where corrective actions are needed. Implementing strategies effectively requires a combination of policies, programs, budgets, and organizational structures. These are the tools that turn strategic plans into action. Developing strategies at different levels, corporate, business, and functional, helps align all parts of the organization toward common goals. Monitoring both internal factors, like our strengths and weaknesses, and external factors, such as opportunities and threats, forms the backbone of strategic management. This ongoing environmental scanning ensures that strategies remain relevant and effective. The scope of strategic management encompasses several critical areas: strategy evaluation and control to track progress, innovation and sustainability to foster growth and responsibility, corporate governance and ethics to uphold integrity, and the actual implementation and formulation of strategies. All of these elements work together to create a comprehensive approach to navigating the ever-changing landscape we operate in. Let's talk about the importance of strategy in strategic management. First, it provides vision and direction. Think of it as a roadmap that helps align all organizational activities with our mission and vision, ensuring everyone is moving in the same direction. Next, strategy serves as the basis for strategic decisions. Whether we're considering diversification, expansion, or mergers, our strategic framework guides these major choices. It also helps us adapt to the environment. In a constantly changing world, a solid strategy enables us to respond effectively to new opportunities and threats. One of its key roles is building a competitive advantage. Through cost leadership, differentiation, or innovation, strategy helps us create a long-term edge over competitors. Effective resource utilization is another critical point. Strategy ensures that our scarce resources, be it time, money, or talent, are allocated in the most effective and efficient way. Additionally, strategy facilitates coordination across different levels of the organization. It integrates corporate, business, and functional strategies to promote unity of purpose. When we have a clear strategy, we can also improve overall performance, boosting efficiency, profitability, market share, and growth. It provides a framework for control as well, setting benchmarks for monitoring progress, evaluation, and making necessary adjustments. Furthermore, strategy encourages proactive leadership. It pushes managers to anticipate future challenges and seek innovative solutions before problems arise. Lastly, a strong strategic approach builds stakeholder confidence, fostering trust among employees, investors, customers, and partners. In summary, strategy is vital because it guides us, helps us adapt, builds competitive advantage, and fosters confidence, all essential for sustained success in a dynamic environment. Now, let's take a look at the levels of strategy. As we explore this, it's important to understand that strategy operates at different layers within an organization. These layers help us see how strategic decisions are made and implemented at various scales. First, we have the corporate level, which is all about the overall scope and direction of the entire organization. This is where top-level decisions determine which markets or industries the company should compete in. Then, moving down, we have the business level, which focuses on how to compete successfully within a specific market or industry. Here, the emphasis is on positioning, competitive advantage, and operational effectiveness. Finally, at the functional or operational level, strategy gets more specific and detailed. This involves the day-to-day activities and tactics that support the broader corporate and business strategies. Recognizing these different levels helps ensure that strategies are aligned across the organization, creating a cohesive approach to achieving overall objectives. This interconnectedness is key to executing a successful strategy that drives growth and sustainability. On this slide, we can see that the Board of Directors, or BOD, along with the Chief Executive Officer, the CEO, are the main groups involved in setting this level of strategy. These are the key decision-makers who shape the long-term direction of the company. This level of strategy is all about making important choices regarding the future of the organization. It involves selecting a long-term plan from a set of available alternatives. Think of it as choosing the best path forward that aligns with the company's vision and goals. Decisions at this level are made by top management, the individuals who have the overall responsibility for the company's success. For example, they might decide on acquisitions, which means buying other companies, or pursue diversification to enter new markets. They might also undertake structural redesigns to improve efficiency and adapt to changing environments. So, to sum up, corporate-level strategies are about defining the big picture. the overarching plans that guide the entire organization. They are crucial because they set the foundation for all other strategic decisions and actions. This is the level where the company determines its long-term growth and sustainability. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the key corporate-level strategies. First, we have retrenchment. This strategy involves the firm reducing its level of operations, which might mean withdrawing from unprofitable or sick units, divesting certain parts of the business, or downsizing overall. It's essentially a way to cut back and stabilize when things aren't going as planned. Next, we have stability. This is about maintaining the current business and market position without making significant changes. It's a steady approach, often used when the environment is stable and the company wants to focus on consolidating its position. Then there's the combination strategy, where a company employs different approaches simultaneously across various business units. So, some units might be expanding, others maintaining stability, and some retrenching. It's a flexible way to manage diverse situations within the same organization. Finally, we have expansion. This is all about seeking substantial growth, whether that's increasing sales, boosting profits, or capturing a larger market share. It's a proactive strategy aimed at growth and scaling the business. Understanding these strategies helps us see how companies adapt to changing circumstances and align their actions with overall goals. Now, let's delve into what business-level strategies actually are. Essentially, these are the plans and actions that a business unit adopts to compete effectively within a specific industry or market. It's about positioning ourselves in a way that allows us to meet our goals and outperform competitors. An important aspect of this is how we allocate resources across different functional areas like marketing, operations, and finance. Coordinating these efforts is crucial because it helps us achieve our broader corporate objectives. At this level, SBU managers are actively involved. They work closely with a specific unit within the organization to develop and implement strategies that align with both the unit and the company's overall goals. So, understanding business-level strategies is key because it bridges our corporate vision with day-to-day execution, ensuring each unit is aligned and moving forward cohesively. Let's take a closer look at Porter's generic strategies. These are fundamental concepts that help businesses understand how to gain a competitive advantage in their market. There are mainly 3 strategies we focus on: cost leadership, differentiation, and focus. Cost leadership involves becoming the lowest cost producer in the industry, which allows a company to offer lower prices and attract more customers. Differentiation, on the other hand, is about making your product or service unique and valuable enough that customers are willing to pay a premium for it. Lastly, the focus strategy means concentrating on a specific niche or segment of the market, tailoring your offerings to meet the particular needs of that group better than competitors. These strategies are crucial because they help clarify how a company can position itself effectively against rivals, which ties directly into our overall theme of strategic management and competitive advantage. Understanding these strategies helps businesses decide where to compete and how to create value that resonates with their target markets. Now, let's take a closer look at Porter's generic strategies, which are fundamental for understanding competitive advantage. On this slide, we see 4 main strategies. First, cost leadership. This is about competing by being the lowest cost producer in the industry, all while maintaining acceptable quality. The key here is cost efficiency, and companies like Walmart and McDonald's excel at this by leveraging economies of scale and streamlined operations. Next is differentiation. Here, the goal is to offer products or services that are unique and valued by customers. These offerings stand out because they are perceived as different from what competitors provide. Think of Apple, Nike, or Starbucks. They create a perception of distinctiveness that commands customer loyalty and often allows for premium pricing. The third strategy is cost focus. This involves targeting a specific market segment or niche and providing goods or services at the lowest cost within that segment. Companies like DMart or certain airlines specialize in serving narrow markets with cost-efficient solutions, which helps them dominate their niche. Finally, we have differentiation focus. This strategy is about delivering unique or highly specialized products tailored for a particular niche market segment. Rolex and Ferrari are perfect examples. They cater to a specific customer base that values exclusivity and high quality. Overall, these strategies help businesses position themselves effectively in their markets, whether through cost leadership or differentiation, and whether targeting broad markets or specific niches. Understanding these options allows companies to craft a clear competitive advantage aligned with their strengths and market demands. Now, let's talk about what functional or operational level strategies are all about. These strategies are designed to support both the broader business level and corporate level strategies by focusing on the day-to-day operations and short-term objectives. Essentially, they help ensure that the company's overall goals are translated into specific actions at the departmental level. These strategies are developed and implemented within different parts of the organization, such as marketing, finance, operations, human resources, R&D, or production. Each department tailors its plans to align with the larger strategic direction, making sure that every part of the business is working efficiently and effectively towards common objectives. The decisions made at this level are often called tactical or operational decisions. They are more detailed and specific, guiding routine activities that keep the organization running smoothly. So, in essence, functional or operational strategies are the building blocks that turn high-level plans into actionable steps, ensuring that every department contributes to the overall success of the organization. Let's take a closer look at the various functional areas within an organization and their focus areas. Starting with marketing strategy, this involves decisions around pricing, promotion, distribution, branding, and market segmentation. For example, Reliance Jio's free data strategy was a bold move to rapidly penetrate the market and build a large customer base. Moving on to financial strategy, this covers aspects like capital structure, budgeting, investment choices, and cost control measures. An example here is Infosys maintaining a debt-free policy, which helps ensure financial stability and flexibility. In operations or production strategy, the focus is on production planning, quality control, process design, and managing the supply chain. Maruti Suzuki, for instance, applies lean manufacturing principles to improve efficiency and reduce waste. When we consider human resource strategy, it involves recruitment, training, performance appraisals, and compensation policies. TCS invests heavily in employee learning and development to build a skilled and motivated workforce. Research and development strategy centers on innovation, product development, and adopting new technologies. Dr. Reddy, for example, emphasizes R&D in generic drugs to stay competitive and innovative. Information technology strategy involves digitalization, automation, data analytics, and cybersecurity. HDFC Bank has adopted AI to enhance customer service and improve fraud detection, demonstrating how technology can transform banking. Finally, logistics and supply chain strategy includes procurement, warehousing, distribution channels, and inventory management. Flipkart, for example, focuses on optimizing last-mile delivery to ensure quick and reliable service. Lastly, the customer service strategy emphasizes service quality, handling complaints efficiently, and creating a positive customer experience. Zomato's instant chat support and flexible refund policies are great examples of how to keep customers satisfied. By understanding these different functional strategies, we see how each area plays a critical role in aligning operations with overall business goals, driving growth, and ensuring competitive advantage. Now, let's take a closer look at the model or process of strategic management, which is fundamental to understanding how organizations develop and execute their strategies. Starting with the first step, strategic intent, this is about setting a clear and compelling vision for where the organization wants to go. It acts as a guiding star, inspiring and aligning all subsequent actions. Next, we move to environmental analysis. This involves examining both the external and internal environments to identify opportunities and threats, as well as strengths and weaknesses. This step is crucial because it informs the strategic choices we make later on. Following that, we evaluate strategic alternatives. Here, we generate different options for how to achieve our strategic intent based on the insights gathered. It's important to consider multiple pathways and assess their feasibility and potential impact. Once we've evaluated the alternatives, the next step is choosing the most suitable strategic options. This decision is critical because it determines the direction the organization will pursue. After selecting the strategy, we focus on strategy implementation. This involves translating plans into action, allocating resources, and ensuring that everyone is aligned and committed to the strategic goals. Finally, we come to strategy evaluation and control. This is about monitoring progress, measuring performance, and making adjustments as needed to stay on track. Throughout this process, the model emphasizes a continuous cycle of assessment, decision-making, and adjustment, which is vital for adapting in a dynamic environment. This entire framework helps organizations systematically analyze their environment, make informed choices, and effectively execute their strategies to achieve long-term success. Now, let's look at the specific, quantitative targets that help us achieve our goals. These are often framed using the SMART criteria, meaning they are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Setting these targets gives us clear milestones and helps us track progress effectively. On the other hand, we also need to think about the broad, long-term outcomes we want our organization to achieve. These are the desired future states that guide our strategic direction over the years. To understand the nature and scope of our business activities, we can turn to Abel's framework. This framework clarifies what products or services we offer, who our customers are, and how we create value for them. Specifically, it defines our core purpose, why we exist, and what we do today. It also helps articulate our future aspirations, what we want the organization to become in the long run. Now, connecting these ideas within our strategic hierarchy, we have objectives, goals, business definitions, mission, and vision. Each level plays a role in shaping our strategic intent, ensuring that our day-to-day activities align with our long-term ambitions. As we look at slide 17, it's important to understand that due to the element of uncertainty, environmental analysis plays a crucial role. It helps us anticipate changes within our organization's network. Essentially, this process involves monitoring and understanding various factors that could impact us, allowing us to identify potential opportunities and threats. This process is also known as environmental scanning or appraisal, and it's a key part of strategic planning. Every organization operates within an environment, which can be internal, like our company culture or resources, or external, such as market trends or regulatory changes. By continuously analyzing these elements, we can better position ourselves to adapt and thrive, aligning our strategies with the environment around us. This understanding helps us make informed decisions and stay ahead of potential challenges. Now, let's look at some key strategic options. First, we have reduction or retrenchment. This involves scaling back in certain areas, perhaps by narrowing the customer groups, focusing on specific customer functions, or even shifting to alternative technologies. It's about trimming down to strengthen the core. Next, there's growth or expansion. Here, the company broadens its scope, adding new customer groups, exploring different functions, or adopting new technologies. This approach aims to increase market reach and diversify offerings. Then we have the mix or combination strategy. This means the company is expanding in some areas while reducing in others. It broadens its customer base, functions, and technologies, but maintains the same products and markets, leveraging existing strengths. Finally, there's continuation or stability. This is about maintaining the current course, sticking to existing markets, customers, and technologies without major changes. It's a strategy of steady growth and minimal risk. When we evaluate all these alternatives together, it helps us understand the different ways a company can adapt and evolve based on its goals and environment. Each choice has its own implications, and selecting the right one depends on where the company wants to go and how it plans to get there. Let's take a closer look at some of the key analytical tools used in strategic decision-making. First, we have the PESDEL analysis, which helps us understand the macroenvironmental factors impacting our industry. Then, there's the VIRO framework analysis, focusing on our internal resources and capabilities to create a competitive advantage. The value chain analysis is crucial for identifying where value is added in our operations, and the IFAS analysis helps us assess our internal strengths and weaknesses. Moving on, industry and organizational analysis involve examining factors that are measurable, factual, and quantifiable. Think of metrics like cost, ROI, time, resources, and market potential. These tangible data points are essential for making informed decisions. On the other hand, some factors can't be easily quantified. They're based on experience, opinions, or psychological insights. For example, the experience curve, which shows how costs decrease with increased production, or the product life cycle concept, which guides us through different stages of a product's life. Tools like the BCG matrix and GE 9-cell matrix help us evaluate our portfolio and strategic options, considering both market attractiveness and our competitive position. When making strategic choices, we need to consider two main types of factors: objective, measurable data, and subjective, experience-based insights. Additionally, corporate portfolio analysis and competitor analysis, including Porter's 5 forces and SWOT analysis, give us a comprehensive view of our market landscape. Techniques like benchmarking, strategic group mapping, and perceptual mapping help us position ourselves effectively. Finally, tools such as Porter's 4-corner analysis and various matrices like IFAS, EFAS, and ETOP assist us in evaluating strategic options. When choosing among alternatives, it's crucial to balance these different factors to develop robust strategies aligned with our overall goals. Let's explore the different types of implementation strategies. First, we have behavioral implementation, which focuses on changing individual behaviors to support our goals. This is often about training, motivation, and reinforcement. Next is functional implementation, where we ensure that the functions and activities are aligned with our overall strategy. This helps us make sure that everything we do is purpose-driven. Procedural implementation involves establishing clear procedures and processes to maintain consistency and efficiency across the organization. Then, we have project implementation, which refers to the actual execution of specific projects designed to achieve strategic objectives. Structural implementation deals with adjusting the organizational structure, such as teams, reporting lines, or hierarchies, to better support our strategy. Resource allocation is another critical aspect, making sure we assign the right resources, whether human, financial, or technological, to the right initiatives. And finally, strategy implementation is the overarching process that ties all these elements together, ensuring that each component works cohesively to bring our strategic plan to life. When we think about these different types, it really highlights the comprehensive approach needed to successfully implement a strategy across all levels of an organization. Let's take a closer look at linking performance and rewards. This is where we connect how well employees perform with the rewards they receive, ensuring that high performers are appropriately recognized and motivated. Next, we compare planned standards with actual standards. This comparison helps us understand whether our initial expectations align with reality, allowing us to identify areas where we are excelling or where adjustments are needed. We also focus on feedback for future actions. Gathering insights from performance assessments enables us to make informed decisions, improve processes, and set more accurate standards moving forward. Measurement of organizational process is another crucial aspect. By systematically evaluating our processes, We can gauge efficiency, identify bottlenecks, and ensure that our operations support our strategic goals. Finally, strategy evaluation and control ties everything together. It's about continuously monitoring our strategy's effectiveness and making necessary adjustments to stay on course. All these components are interconnected, forming a cycle that drives ongoing improvement and aligns performance with organizational objectives. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Let's talk about ownership within a company. It's important to understand that ownership is shared among the company's stakeholders. These stakeholders are managed and elected by the Board of Directors, or BOD. The top-level managers then carry the responsibility to use the organization's resources with commitment and dedication. Their goal is to ensure the success of the organization. Now, moving on to governance. Governance is essentially the process through which those in power make decisions that can create, destroy, or maintain social systems, structures, and processes. It's about how authority and decision-making influence the organization and society at large. When we talk about corporate governance, we're referring to the rules, processes, or laws that govern how a business is operated, regulated, and controlled. It's a framework that helps ensure companies are run ethically and effectively. Corporate governance involves both internal and external factors. Internally, it includes elements like officers, stockholders, or the company's constitution, those within the organization who influence how it's managed. Externally, factors such as consumer groups, clients, and government regulations also play a critical role, shaping how a company behaves and maintains compliance. In essence, good corporate governance aligns the interests of all stakeholders, promotes transparency, and fosters trust. It's fundamental to sustainable success and responsible business practices. Let's talk about corporate governance. Essentially, it's the relationship among all the stakeholders involved in a company. This relationship is crucial because it helps determine and control the strategic direction and overall performance of the organization. When I say stakeholders, I mean anyone with an interest in the company, owners, managers, employees, even shareholders. A key part of corporate governance is making sure that strategic decisions are made effectively. This involves establishing clear processes and structures so that choices align with the company's goals and are made in a way that benefits everyone involved. In the context of corporations, corporate governance plays an important role in maintaining order. It helps define how the firm's owners, such as shareholders, interact with top-level managers. The goal here is to ensure that managers act in the best interest of the owners, reducing conflicts and promoting transparency. Overall, good corporate governance is about creating a framework that supports responsible decision-making, accountability, and ultimately, sustainable success for the organization. Let's take a closer look at what governance structure really means. Essentially, it's about how rights and responsibilities are divided among the different participants in a corporation. This includes the board of directors, managers, shareholders, creditors, auditors, regulators, and other stakeholders. It also sets out the rules and procedures for making decisions on corporate matters, ensuring everything runs smoothly and transparently. Now, governance isn't just about rules. It's the framework through which a corporation sets and pursues its objectives. Importantly, this framework is shaped by the social, regulatory, and market environment in which the company operates. So, good governance adapts to the context and helps steer the company toward its goals in a responsible way. Another key point is that governance acts as a mechanism for monitoring what the corporation is doing, its actions, policies, and decisions. It's all about making sure that the interests of all stakeholders are aligned, which is crucial for maintaining trust and achieving sustainable success. When we talk about corporate governance, it's often summarized by the idea of promoting fairness, transparency, and accountability within the company. As Jay Wolfensohn put it, governance is about fostering fairness and openness. And from a financial perspective, corporate governance is also about how those who provide funding, investors and creditors, can be assured that they'll get a return on their investment. It's about creating a system where everyone's interests are balanced, and the company is managed responsibly to protect those interests. So, in the bigger picture of this presentation, understanding governance helps us see how strong, transparent, and accountable management practices build trust, both internally and externally, and ultimately contribute to the company's long-term success. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Let's take a closer look at the evaluation of board performance, starting with the composition of the board, which is fundamental to understanding how well a company is governed. This refers to the structure of the board of directors, who sits on the board, in what capacity, and how their skills, backgrounds, and independence are balanced. Moving through the phases, this composition evolves to ensure that the board remains effective and aligned with the company's strategic goals. For instance, in the early phases, the focus might be on establishing a diverse mix of skills and backgrounds. As we progress, the emphasis shifts towards strengthening independence, including independent directors who can provide unbiased oversight. It's also crucial to consider the structure of the board and its committees, as these elements facilitate specialized oversight and decision-making. And of course, the size and type of the board play a role in its agility and effectiveness. By thoroughly evaluating these elements, board size, structure, diversity in skills and expertise, and independence, we can better understand how the board contributes to the overall governance and success of the organization. This comprehensive view helps ensure that the board remains a strong, strategic asset for the company. Let's talk about the minimum number of directors required for a company. This is an important aspect because it ensures there's enough governance and oversight to run the organization effectively. The specific minimum number can vary depending on the jurisdiction and the type of company, but generally, having at least 2 or 3 directors helps maintain a balanced decision-making process. It also provides a safeguard against conflicts of interest and ensures continuity in leadership if one director is unavailable. Remember, setting the right minimum number aligns with our overall goal of promoting good governance and accountability within the organization. The board of directors plays a crucial role in decision-making and governance within a company. There are specific rules that govern how the board is composed, mainly to ensure accountability and transparency, especially under the Companies Act of 2013. First, let's look at the minimum number of directors required. For a public company, you need at least 3 directors. A private company must have a minimum of 2, and a one-person company can operate with just 1 director. These minimums help ensure there's enough oversight and expertise on the board. Next, there's a maximum limit on the number of directors, which is up to 15. If a company wishes to appoint more than 15 directors, it must pass a special resolution in a general meeting. This rule helps maintain effective governance by preventing the board from becoming unwieldy. Lastly, there's the requirement for a resident director. At least 1 director must stay in India for 182 days in a previous calendar year. This rule is designed to make sure that at least 1 board member is familiar with local regulations and business conditions, which is vital for the company's compliance and practical decision-making. So these rules collectively shape how a company's board is structured, promoting responsible governance and ensuring that the company remains aligned with legal and regulatory standards. Let's now look at some important restrictions and requirements that are shaping good corporate governance. First, there's a limit on the number of directorships a person can hold. Specifically, an individual should not be appointed as a director in more than 20 companies at the same time. This rule helps to reduce potential conflicts of interest and ensures that directors remain effective and up-to-date in their roles. Moving on, there's a mandatory requirement to include women directors on boards. This push for gender diversity aims to promote parity in corporate governance. Companies are now required to appoint at least 1 woman director, which not only supports gender equality, but also brings diverse perspectives to decision-making. Having diverse boards leads to better, more balanced choices and promotes equitable leadership. Finally, the role of independent directors is now a key component for listed companies. The idea is to ensure unbiased decision-making, so at least 1/3 of the board members should be independent directors. These directors serve as safeguards for shareholder interests and help maintain transparency within the company. Together, these measures reinforce the importance of good governance, transparency, and diversity, core themes that underpin the overall integrity and effectiveness of corporate leadership. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Let's take a moment to explore the key roles and responsibilities that drive effective governance and leadership within an organization. First, strategic direction is fundamental. It involves setting the vision, mission, and long-term goals that guide the company's path forward. This is about defining where we want to go and how we plan to get there. Next is governance, which ensures we stay compliant with laws, uphold ethical standards, and follow good corporate governance practices. This helps maintain trust and integrity in everything we do. Oversight is also critical. It means monitoring management performance and overall company operations to ensure everything runs smoothly and aligns with our strategic objectives. Risk management is another vital aspect. It involves identifying potential risks that could threaten the organization and taking steps to mitigate or avoid them. This proactive approach protects the company's stability and future growth. Financial stewardship involves overseeing budgets, approving financial statements, and making sound investment decisions. This ensures the company's resources are managed wisely and sustainably. Protecting stakeholder interests is also central, whether they are shareholders, employees, or society at large. It's about balancing their needs and ensuring that the company acts responsibly and ethically. Leadership development is about appointing, guiding, and evaluating top management to build a strong leadership team capable of executing our strategy effectively. Finally, corporate social responsibility reflects our commitment to sustainability and ethical business practices. It's about integrating social and environmental considerations into our core operations, which aligns with our overall theme of responsible leadership and long-term value creation. All these roles are interconnected and essential for steering the organization toward success and sustainability. Let's talk about some of the current trends shaping corporate governance today. First, increased transparency and disclosure. Companies are now providing much more detailed reports on both their financial performance and non-financial aspects, like social and environmental impacts. This helps build trust with stakeholders by showing a clearer picture of their overall performance. Next, there's a strong focus on environmental, social, and governance factors, commonly referred to as ESG. Sustainability initiatives, climate change considerations, and ethical business practices are now at the heart of how companies are governed. This shift reflects a broader responsibility beyond just profits, emphasizing long-term value creation. Another key trend is diversity and inclusion on corporate boards. We're seeing a growing emphasis on having a mix of genders, skills, and cultural backgrounds. This diversity not only strengthens decision-making, but also aligns with societal expectations for fair representation. Digital transformation is also playing a critical role. Boards are increasingly tasked with overseeing digital governance and cybersecurity. As technology advances, ensuring robust data security and digital integrity has become essential for protecting the company and its stakeholders. Finally, shareholder activism and engagement are on the rise. Shareholders are no longer passive investors. They are actively influencing corporate strategy and governance practices. This engagement encourages companies to be more accountable and responsive to their investors' interests. All these trends collectively reflect a move toward more responsible, inclusive, and transparent corporate governance, aligning with the broader theme of building sustainable and resilient organizations. Now, let's look at some of the key shifts happening in corporate governance. First, there's greater accountability of directors. This means that directors are being held to higher standards when it comes to their performance, ethics, and compliance. They're expected to act responsibly and transparently, aligning their actions with the best interests of shareholders and stakeholders alike. Next, we see that executive compensation is becoming more closely linked to performance. Instead of simply earning a fixed salary or bonuses, executives' pay structures are now tied to measurable outcomes and long-term value creation. This encourages leadership to focus on sustainable growth rather than short-term gains. Finally, there's a significant shift towards sustainability and long-term value creation. The emphasis is moving away from just short-term profits. Instead, companies are focusing on building resilience, fostering sustainable growth, and ensuring they can thrive well into the future. All of these trends highlight a broader theme: a move towards more responsible, transparent, and sustainable corporate practices that benefit everyone involved. Let's talk about corporate social responsibility, or CSR for short. CSR is essentially how companies take responsibility for their impact on society and the environment. It's about going beyond just making profits and actively contributing to the well-being of communities, the planet, and even their own employees. When we think about CSR, it covers a broad range of activities, like sustainable environmental practices, ethical labor standards, philanthropy, and transparent business operations. These efforts not only help build a positive reputation, but also foster trust and loyalty among customers and stakeholders. Connecting this to the overall theme of responsible business, CSR highlights that success isn't just measured by financial performance. It's also about the legacy a company leaves and how it aligns with societal values and expectations. In essence, CSR is a strategic approach that shows companies care about more than just profits. They care about making a meaningful, positive difference in the world. CSR, or corporate social responsibility, refers to a company's responsibility towards society, the environment, and its stakeholders. It's about more than just making a profit. It involves ethical practices and actively contributing to sustainable development. Essentially, CSR is an ongoing commitment by businesses to behave ethically and support economic growth. But it also means improving the quality of life for their workforce, their families, local communities, and society at large. So, when we talk about CSR, we're highlighting a holistic approach where companies recognize their broader impact and strive to do good while doing well. This aligns perfectly with the overall idea that businesses should be responsible not just for their bottom line, but for their role in creating a better world. Let's take a closer look at some of the key areas where our corporate social responsibility initiatives make a real difference. First, environmental protection is a major focus. We're committed to pollution control and promoting renewable energy sources to reduce our carbon footprint and protect our planet for future generations. Next, community development is at the heart of our efforts. We support healthcare, education, and sanitation programs to improve the quality of life in the communities where we operate. Rural development programs are also a priority. By investing in these areas, we aim to create sustainable growth and opportunities outside urban centers. Women empowerment and child welfare are essential components of our CSR strategy. We believe empowering women and caring for children helps build healthier, more equitable societies. Additionally, we uphold ethical labor practices and prioritize employee welfare. Ensuring fair treatment and a safe working environment is not just good ethics, but fundamental to our company's integrity. All these areas, environmental protection, community and rural development, women and child welfare, and ethical practices, are interconnected. They reflect our broader commitment to responsible business and creating positive social impact. Together, these initiatives support our overall mission to operate sustainably and contribute meaningfully to society. Let's talk about corporate social responsibility, or CSR. This concept is all about how companies take responsibility for their impact on society and the environment. It's not just about making profits anymore. It's about doing good while doing business. CSR involves practices like sustainable sourcing, reducing carbon footprints, and supporting community initiatives. By embracing CSR, companies can build stronger relationships with customers, employees, and stakeholders. It also enhances their reputation and can even lead to better financial performance in the long run. In the context of our overall theme, CSR reminds us that successful businesses contribute positively to society and operate ethically. It's a vital part of modern strategy, aligning business goals with social values. So, integrating CSR into business practices isn't just a trend. It's a necessity for sustainable growth. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Let's take a closer look at some of the leading companies and their CSR initiatives, along with how these efforts align strategically with their overall goals. Starting with Tata Group, founded in 1868, they have long been committed to education, healthcare, and rural development. One notable program is Tata Steel's Thousand Schools program, which demonstrates their focus on building community strength and sustainability. This approach not only enhances their brand reputation, but also positions them as leaders in sustainability. Moving on to Infosys, established in 1981, their CSR efforts revolve around the Infosys Foundation. They focus on healthcare, rural education, digital literacy, and women empowerment. These initiatives are designed to enhance human capital and bolster the company's corporate image by creating social impact that aligns with their business values. ITC Limited, founded in 1910, has developed initiatives like e-Chupal for farmers, social forestry projects, and village education programs. These efforts support their agricultural business sustainability and help strengthen their supply chain, ensuring both community well-being and business resilience. Hindustan Unilever, or HUL, started in 1933. Their projects include Project Shakti, which empowers women entrepreneurs, and campaigns like Lifebuoy hygiene promotion and water conservation. These initiatives promote inclusive growth and enable deeper market penetration in rural areas, aligning social impact with business expansion. Reliance Industries, founded in 1966, channels its CSR through the Reliance Foundation. Their focus areas are healthcare, digital inclusion, and rural development. These efforts help strengthen their ecosystem and foster goodwill within the communities they serve. Mahindra & Mahindra, established in 1945, emphasizes education, sustainability, and rural engagement through programs like Nanhai Kali, which supports girl-child education, Hariyali for tree plantations, and various skill development initiatives. Their CSR strategy underscores their commitment to rural development and environmental sustainability. Finally, Wipro, also founded in 1945, runs Wipro Cares, focusing on education, sanitation, environmental issues, and Green It. Their initiatives demonstrate a commitment to ethical governance and environmental stewardship, reinforcing their corporate values. Overall, these companies show how CSR is not just about giving back. It's a strategic part of their business models, fostering trust, sustainability, and long-term growth.